Breakfast was George's favorite meal of the day, along with lunch and dinner.
George, could you pass the pepper, please?
Uh-oh. Pepper always made George.
That's some mess you made. I'll go get the sponge. Ooh, except I'm late for a meeting. I have to go. Can you clean up, George? Thanks. And make sure to vacuum up all the crumbs. I saw an ant in here a few days ago. No, George, that's a bad thing.
George had made quite a mess, even for a monkey. That was close. George almost stepped on an ant. Wait, an ant? The man with the yellow hat was right. There was an ant in the apartment. There were 2 ants in the apartment. Actually, there were a lot of ants in the apartment. An ant? That's not tidy. George was up to something. Hundley decided he'd better check. Was that where the ants were coming from? If George could carefully block the crack, the problem was solved. George was a genius. Except now he'd have to stay here forever. George had done it. No more ants. Where were these coming from? It took a lot of napkins and other stuff, but George and Hundley plugged every crack. Now they just had to get all the ants that were already in out. George decided the ant might feel safer out on the balcony. Maybe that's what George should do, carry all the ants outside. George showed Hundley his discovery. Ants follow food. Maybe they'd follow it right out the door. So that was the solution. Put the food outside, and the ants would leave. And of course, they come back with their food. George had another idea. Maybe he could get the ants inside the trash can by filling it with food. It was working. The ants crawled into the can as fast as their legs would carry them. Where would they put them? They couldn't put the ants on the sidewalk. They'd get squished. And they'd get even more squished on the street. The park. The ants would love it there. George and Hundley set the ants free in a nice empty area of the park where no one would step on them. It had been quite a morning, but the ants were gone and everything was okay.
George, I can't believe this apartment.
George had forgotten to clean up his mess.
Good job, George. Not only did you clean the apartment, you also took out the trash.
He did? Oh, yeah, he did.
Of course, you also shoved napkins and handkerchiefs into the wall and covered it with bandages. But I'm not even gonna ask. You just sit down and take it easy. I'll go make us some lunch.
George could finally relax. The apartment was clean, and he'd never have to worry about ants again. Now he had two shadows to compare. They both looked the same, except one was shaped like a monkey and the other a dachshund. George explained that both shadows moved over stuff the same way, and neither one predicted the weather. Huntley never really noticed a shadow before. It looked dirty. Now he could compare shadows. Except she had no shadow at all. George had no shadow either. When George came back, the sun was barely up. And Sherry wasn't up at all. He got in position so she couldn't get out without him knowing. Then he fell asleep. Just like every year, Mr. Glass showed up early, all alone, and set up his video camera.
Sounds like Sherry has a cold. I better do this fast and quietly and not wake her up. All done. If she were awake, she would have seen her shadow.
Have a fun morning?
It was an unusual Whistle Pig Wednesday this morning. Watch.
George?
Here's what Mr. Glass had to say about being caught on video holding up a monkey in Endless Park.
You've got to admit it was unique. Unique's not bad.
So, summer over? Did he see a shadow? Are you sorry you held up a monkey?
Now, today doesn't count, because it was only a monkey shadow.
Now George definitely had to see what made that Whistle Pig shadow so special.
There'll be a do-over tomorrow morning, a unique Whistle Pig Thursday.
The next morning, George brought Hundley and Yoki along to keep him alert.
Please, no monkeys. It's Whistle Pig time. Oh, no. Do-over! No, do-over! Do-over! Oh, no.
No one knew where Compass came from.
Hi, you're a monkey, aren't you? Could you please send Sherry out? There. Whistle, Pig. See?
Now that he'd seen it, Sherry's shadow was just a shadow.
You want to know how a shadow can predict the change of seasons? It's not magic or science. It's just a fun thing people do. It's unique.
If George knew that, he wouldn't have gotten up so early. George went home and went back to bed. But he needed an extra blanket because it started getting colder today.
Oh, it's from my mother. Happy birthday, love, Mom. I'm late for my appointment. Hold on to this for me, will you, George? I'll be back at 7, and then we'll celebrate. Bye, George.
You want to have a party? Shh. A surprise party? Even better. All you need is A, an apartment, B, your buddies, C, a cake, and D, decorations.
A, B, C, D. That didn't sound hard at all. The man with the yellow hat would be back at 7. George had only 4 hours to get the party ready. And the man's buddies were listed in this book.
Since you invited me to your party, I'm gonna give you my special all-fruit frozen cake on the house. Just pick a size, Giorgio.
A big party needed a big cake.
The big one. Surprise.
Looks like quite a celebration. Is it a birthday? Yeah? Say, I could blow that up for you. It'd make a great decoration.
Hiya, George. Everyone's coming. I just had to say yellow hat, and they all said yes.
George had picked too wide of a cake. It wouldn't fit in the freezer. Luckily, it was cold out on the balcony. That took care of C, cake. George had also picked too big of a poster and a too small ladder. Everything was the wrong size. George had gotten his wish. His apartment was the perfect size for a monkey. Now, he just needed the cake and decorations. The cake was in the freezer, the poster was on the wall, and the star was no trouble at all. George was ready for his guests.
Hello, Giorgio.
But not ready for their size.
I hope we're not too early.
Hey, 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 he's coming! George is right. We have to hide. Okay. It's too small. Where's that plant I can hide?
Hi, everybody. A party? For me? Oh, gee, thanks.
Sorry.
Oh, me too.
How about some music?
A George-sized apartment was fine for little monkeys, but not at all good for people-sized people. This was more like it. Everything was the size it should be. Except maybe the cake. 6 o'clock. Only an hour left. And George had to start over. George wanted to get the sizes right, so he decided to measure everything first. This time, George ordered the right-sized cake. And poster. And chose a better ladder.
George, are you home? What is this? To celebrate my birthday? Oh, wow. All my friends and my plumber, my dentist, my barber?
They were in your address book. George put everything together.
He did? Oh, thank you, George.
Maybe it wasn't so bad being a little monkey in a big world after all. And there was one thing his arms were always the right size for.
I forgot this bag of marbles for Mr. Zubel. Is the doorman here yet? First a dog's in charge, then a monkey? Next it'll be an elephant. Sign here, please. Weirdest day ever.
George started delivering the bag right away. He was a great door monkey. Things had to be going better for George.
Oh, what
Hundley Jr. was a fast eater. Good thing George got some leaves from the tree. But Hundley Jr. didn't like the tree leaves. He only liked the leaves from the flowers. Hundley understood. He only liked one kind of dog food. He and Hundley Jr. were exactly alike. And then something strange happened. Hundley Jr. dangled down off a stick and stopped moving. Maybe Hundley Jr. needed more food. Hundley had to get more leaves from the flowers fast. When Hundley got to the lobby, he couldn't believe his eyes. Nothing was wrong. George couldn't believe his eyes either. Hundley was dirty and smelled like trash. Hundley needed that food, but George didn't want a dirty dog in his clean lobby. It was Hundley versus Monkey Hundley. Who would win?
Oh, my flowers.
Ms. Klopotsnik, that's who.
Aren't they? Oh, dear. There's milkweed in this bouquet. I'm allergic to milkweed.
Well, at least the lobby smelled better now. When Hundley got back, Hundley Jr. was in a tiny sleeping bag. Where did he get that? Hundley would just wait until his friend woke up. He was sure it wouldn't be long.
Okay. There's trash all over the floor. George is in the lobby, and you're watching a stick? I'm taking your temperature, Hundley.
Days and days went by. But Hundley Jr. stayed wrapped up in the hard little bag. Hundley tried to get Hundley Jr. to come out and play. Nope. Hundley tried to get Hundley Jr. to come out and sing. Nope. Meanwhile, George kept watching the lobby in the mornings while the doorman was at his class. He did a good job. Most of the time. 2 weeks later, the doorman was back to work in the morning.
Bye, George.
But Hundley Jr. was still sleeping. George knew how to wake him up. It looked like their friend would sleep forever. But then the sleeping bag opened. And out came a butterfly? Where did Hundley Jr. go? It was empty. But that must mean the butterfly was Hundley Jr. No wonder he'd been so sleepy. It took a lot of work to grow wings. Their little friend had grown up. Puppies turned into dogs, baby monkeys turned into bigger monkeys, and caterpillars turned into butterflies. Hundley was happy his friend was awake. But he was a little sad too, because Hundley Jr. didn't want to live inside anymore. It was a beautiful day. A perfect day for flying. They'd missed their friend, but he was ready to leave and go see the world. Thanks to them. Hundley was proud. He'd been a great caterpillar daddy.
Hey, lobby monkey!
But he'd also learned his job could be done by a monkey.
Ah!
Hundley still did it better, though.
George, what are you doing? Are you looking for syrup? Well, first you'll have to tap the tree. Oh, no, not tap like knocking. I mean a tap like a spigot. You know, I've got an extra bucket if you'd like to make your own syrup. First, you have to find a maple tree. Now, a maple tree has gray bark and deep ridges that run up and down like this. And they have 5-pointed leaves like this.
Oh. Yeah, look. The bottle tells you what kind of leaves to look for. Ah!
Then you drill a small hole angled up for best sap flow, then hammer in the spigot. No, it doesn't hurt the tree, George. Right now, it's like the trees are sleeping. They don't need their sap until spring when the weather gets warmer and they put out leaves. Got it? Now, hold on. You'll need these, too. I'll get another set from the barn.
George. We did it! Hey, George?
It took a while, but George's bucket was finally full.
Ooh. Whoops, wait! I'll help you. We need a bucket lifting machine. Or an elevator.
Or a cow. George figured with Leslie's help, he could lift the bucket off the tap. It wasn't a whole bucket of syrup, but it would still cover a lot of pancakes.
Come on!
Okay. Pancakes? For me?
Yep, and syrup. And we made it. Well, the tree made it, but we tapped the tree all by ourselves.
Wow. Very moist.
That doesn't taste like syrup at all. Grandpa's trees must be broken.
No. The trees aren't broken, George. Maple syrup trees give sap, not syrup.
Sap?
Sap becomes syrup after it's boiled down. Luckily, you've come to the right place. We boil it right here at the sugar shack.
Oh, yeah!
Now, this will take a while, and if we leave it too long, it can boil over, burn, and be ruined. So we have to keep an eye on it.
It took forever.
Aha! Looks like it's ready. What do you say to that? Leslie, how did you get out?
Whoops! I think she wants syrup. Cows like syrup a lot. George, the syrup! It's going to boil over.
No matter how hard he blew, George couldn't cool the syrup down.
Leslie!
Maybe if they fanned it.
I thought you didn't know anything about making syrup. Well, you knew butter stops syrup from boiling over. Well, here you are, your own bottle of syrup. It takes a whole lot of sap to make a little bit of syrup.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, George. Best syrup ever.
Luckily, a little bit of syrup has a whole lot of taste.
George, stop right there. But don't touch that stuff with 3 leaves. It's poison ivy. If it touches your skin, you get a red rash and blisters. Very itchy. Remember the 3 leaves. Leaves of 3, let it be. Uh-huh. Oh, this isn't good. I can't get my keys out of my pocket. Can you get them, George? In my jacket, up here. that tickles. I guess I'm gonna need your help, George. O-M. It's just... It's right... George, we've been doing this for 2 hours. George, hold it, please. think we need to figure out ways I can do things for myself. How would I use those? It works. You may be a genius. Oh, these hit too many keys. Now I've got Dear Mom Burl Furpin McGeggy. Dear Mom, I can type this because George is so smart. It works.
Before they knew it, it was time for the phone call with the scientist.
Oh, boy. Okay. Hello?
Hello, this is Dr. Hassline and the Science Board. Professor Wiseman said you'd answer our questions about her new Tic-Tac-Toe invention.
Yes, Doctor.
Fine. That's strange. The video monitor isn't working.
Video monitor?
Yes, surely Dr. Wiseman told you we requested a video conference.
Ah, she must have forgotten to mention it. Please hold. Help me, George! We gotta move all this to the bedroom, now!
Hi. Professor Wiseman's Tic-Tac-Toe is excellent. Easy to use. Accurate. So, any questions?
We only have one question. Would you demonstrate the mechanism?
Okay. I thought I was just supposed to talk.
I can't demonstrate it because, see,
It's complicated.
You said it was easy. If it's complicated, we will not approve it.
Oh, no, that's not what's complicated. It's a long story.
No time for long stories. We're very busy geniuses around here.
Please stand by.
Don't want to let Professor Wiseman down. Ready, George?
Doctors, the Wiseman Tic-Tac-Toe. You sound impressed.
Why, yes. Are your hands really that hairy?
I guess I forgot to shave this morning. Anyway, look how easy. You squeeze the lever to open the pail. You dig some dirt, release the lever to close, and the measurements are clearly marked. Did I say something wrong?
You have 3 hands.
3 extremely hairy hands.
Oh, I shouldn't have tried this. This is George.
That's a monkey using the Tic-Tac-Toe.
I can't use my hands. Sorry.
Don't be. If a monkey can use it, then most scientists can.
We unanimously approve the Wiseman Tic-Tac-Toe for use by scientists everywhere.
And we love monkeys.
To celebrate their big success, the man with the yellow hat made a meal without any help.
We're gonna be having a lot of salad for the next few weeks, George.
George thought it would be fun to sit inside a cozy house and watch a storm with the man and Yorbo.
George, you can't go outside when there's thunder and lightning. Oh, Yorbo is out there. Don't worry. He'll get wet, but we'll clean and dry him before he has time to rust. As soon as the storm quiets down, we'll go get him. Hey, how about a game of tic-tac-toe?
George usually really enjoyed tic-tac-toe, but this time he couldn't get his mind off Yorbo.
Wow, the storm really did a number on the beach. Don't worry, George. Yorbo's a tough little robot. We'll find him.
But Yorbo wasn't under that seaweed. Or any of the seaweed.
Okay, so we've searched on top of the sand and under the seaweed, which means Yorbo must be buried in the sand. Robot.
Oh, wow! I found gold! Wow, or a CD player!
Hey, that's mine. I forgot all about it.
Oh, wow. Wasn't that a great storm? I always find such great stuff after a storm, you know? Nifty, huh? It's a metal detector. It helps you find buried metal. Now, the louder it beeps, the closer you're getting to metal. Now, when it beeps like crazy, bingo!
Using the detector, George found lots of metal things.
Oh, the batteries are dead. I'll have to recharge them, but I'll bring this back tomorrow in case you're still looking. Bye now!
Thank you. Well, George can't find his robot. It's buried in the sand.
Is it made of metal? You could try using a metal detector.
We borrowed one, but it ran out of batteries.
Well, metal detectors are easy to make. Sure. First, grab the portable radio from the shelf.
Okay, AM/FM radio, check.
Next, find the calculator, bottom drawer on the desk. Then get some tape, a top drawer on the desk. Now, take the radio and switch it to AM.
Okay.
Then turn the knob all the way to the highest radio station number, but make sure you get static and not an actual station. Turn up the volume, then turn on the calculator and tape it to the radio.
Fantastic.
You see, the radio and calculator act as a magnet. When it finds things that would stick to a magnet, the radio beeps.
George was confused. He had already searched half the beach. But which half? If only the beach were smaller. Then George remembered Tic-Tac-Toe. He could break up the beach into smaller sections, like a tic-tac-toe board. If George could mark off the squares he searched, then he'd know where he'd looked and where he needed to look.
Hi, George. You want to make a grid to help you keep track of your search? Oh, great idea, George. All set. Let me know if you need anything. No luck, huh?
Yorbo had to be in this last square. He had to.
Way to go, George! You found him!
Yorbo is great, yes?
Have fun! Well, I guess this means I can get back to the thrilling conclusion of my book. Oh well. Wait for me!
I can't even make my first delivery. How am I gonna finish my whole route in time?
Hey! If you're not delivering papers? Want to pull me around in the snow?
I've never used a toboggan before, but so far it's great. Thanks for thinking of it, George. Good morning.
Thanks, boys.
Hang on. Gotta steer around this curve. How do you steer?
Hey, you boys all right? I don't know much about toboggans. I'm not much on snow sports. I guess I spend too much time playing with my trains. Ooh. Maybe there's something else you could use in here instead.
George!
Then George realized you can steer by leaning.
George, you're a genius. Why didn't I think to lean? That's how we can steer the toboggan.
Oh, you better keep the blanket. You might need it.
Hang on, George. Here comes the Lake Street curve. Lean, George. Lean harder than you've ever leaned in your life. Oh. Only 2 papers left. Golden pouch, here we come.
Only they weren't going anywhere. They had run out of hill. And then George realized.
Great idea, George. We can turn this blanket into a sail and we can zoom over the flats.
If only he had a couple of poles.
From the recycling bins, take anything you want.
Once their sail was sail-shaped, they needed to attach it to the poles. Attaching it to the mast and boom was a breeze. With their sail in place, they'd soon be moving quickly. But their mast blew past. So George found a way to hold it fast.
Ready? Okay. What if we let the boom out so the sail catches the wind? Perfect! Here you go, Mr. Torsten. It's 4:45. Only one more delivery, but we'll never make it all the way around the lake to Windmill Lane by 5 o'clock.
They didn't have to go around the lake. They could go across it.
Good idea, George. You do the honors. Not bad for a city kid. She's a real beaut. Couldn't have done it without you, partner. So, George, day 1 of a new golden pouch delivery year starts today. Think we'll win again?
George was certain. Because when it came to paper delivery, it was always smooth sailing with Bill.